political sciences, we often hear the word ideology. Oxford Dictionary defines ideology as a system of ideas and ideals, especially one which forms the basis of economic or political theory and policy. In political sciences, there are three main ideologies: socialism on the left, liberalism on the center, and nationalism on the right. Every political party follows a different ideology. However, there are many more than just these three. I'm gonna go through them one by one in alphabetical order and see what they're all about. I was inspired to make this video by a similar one by The Paint Explainer. I recommend you watch it afterwards. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm after a long break and my analytics are basically in the toilet, so any help would be appreciated. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter, links to which are down in the description. Okay, flex aside, let's dive into the world of political ideologies. Starting out with Christian democracy. It's a democratic political movement that uses the teachings of Roman Catholicism. It incorporates church and traditional family values into its politics. Christian Democrats also strongly oppose both individualism and socialism and believe that the state should intervene in economic life to support communities. It's hard to pinpoint where Christian democracy lies in the spectrum, but I believe it's somewhere around the center-right. Communism. Communism is a system which seeks to abolish class divisions and under which the means of production are controlled by the public. First coined by Karl Marx, it really came to life with the Russian Revolution and Vladimir Lenin, who, as it turns out, didn't like sharing power with the others. Communism has many sub-ideologies, mostly depending on who was in charge. Marxism-Leninism, Leninism, Stalinism, Maoism, or the Juche doctrine in North Korea. Communism lies on the far left position of the spectrum. Communitarianism. This political movement is all about the good of the community. It emphasizes the role of the community in political life. According to communitarians, liberalism relies on a conception of the individual that is unrealistically atomistic and abstract. It also places too much importance on individual values such as freedom and autonomy. Conservatism. Conservatism, as its name suggests, places a huge emphasis on traditional and historical values, rather than looking to the future. It prefers institutions and practices which have evolved historically over time. These manifest stability and continuity. Conservatism rejects any form of radical change. Corporatism. Corporatism organizes society into corporations. The state works for the benefit of those corporations and vice versa. The state itself is a corporation, with others being its subsidiaries. In theory, employers and employees would be organized into industrial and professional corporations, serve as organs of political representation, and largely control the people and activities within their jurisdiction. Fascism. A far-right ideology that stresses the glory of the state above all else. It also features subordination of the individual to the state, unquestionable obedience to the leader, harsh suppression of dissent, and in some cases extreme racism and discrimination towards minorities. Fascism arose in the early stages of the 20th century, just after World War I. Notable fascist states include Mussolini's Italy, Franco's Spain, or Pinochet's Chile. Green politics, or eco-politics, aim to foster an ecologically sustainable society that's often rooted in environmentalism, non-violence, social justice, and grassroots democracy. Green politics have what's called 4 pillars: ecological wisdom, social justice, grassroots democracy, and non-violence. Green politics also oppose war on drugs in the United States and the war of terror. Liberalism. Liberalism's core issue is freedom. They believe that a government is necessary to protect other individuals' rights, but they also see government as a potential threat to liberty. Thomas Paine called a government a necessary evil. Laws, judges, and police force are needed to protect the rights of the individual. However, abusing their power can become a threat to one's liberty. Nationalism. Nationalism believes that loyalty to one's country should be above loyalty to everything else. It believes that the nation and the state should be the same thing, and people should form nation-states. It also favors state interventionism in the economy, emphasizing domestic control over labor and capital production. Nazism and neonazism. Nazism is a more extreme version of fascism, only present in the 1930s Germany and the NSDAP. It had all the core values of fascism, plus racial superiority. Hitler believed the German Aryan people to be a superior race, Nietzsche's Übermensch, while some races and people were exterminated, in particular the Jews. While Hitler's Nazism died with him, neo-Nazism attempts to bring back the ideas of the Third Reich. Neo-Nazist groups promote hatred and white supremacy, while attacking racial and ethnic minorities, mostly the Jewish people. Populism. Populism presents the people as a morally good force and contrasts them against the elite, who are portrayed as corrupt and self-serving. The elite can be the political, economic, cultural, and media establishments, depicted as a homogeneous entity and accused of placing their own interests and often the interests of other groups, such as large corporations, foreign countries, or immigrants, above the interests of the people. Populist politics are typically always working for the benefit of the people and to the diminishing of the elite. Socialism. This is a system of social organization in which private property and the distribution of income are subject to social control. Unlike communism, it doesn't vow for the removal of social classes. Social ownership can take various forms, including public, community, collective, cooperative, or employee. Socialist economics come from the premise that individuals do not live or work in isolation, but live in a cooperation with one another. Furthermore, everything that people produce is in some sense a social product, and everyone who contributes to the production of a good is entitled to a share in it. Society as a whole, therefore, should own or at least control property for the benefit of all its members. Social democracy. Social democracy exists within socialism and supports political and economic democracy. It advocates for economic and social interventions to promote social justice within the framework of a liberal democratic polity and a capitalist-oriented mixed economy. It claims that fostering a progressive evolution of capitalism will gradually result in the evolution of a capitalist economy into a socialist economy. All citizens should be legally entitled to certain social rights, like universal access to public services such as education, healthcare, workers' compensation, and to other services including childcare and the care for the elderly. Social Democrats also advocate freedom from discrimination based on differences in ability or disability, age, ethnicity, gender, language, race, religion, sexual orientation, and social class. And here are 3 bonus ideologies that I couldn't place anywhere on the spectrum. Anarchism. Anarchism is skeptical of any authority, wants to abolish institutions that harbor hierarchy and coercion, and it advocates for the replacement of the state with a stateless society. In history, anarchists were often revolutionary. The best example of this is the Spanish Civil War of 1936, when anarchist groups aligned against Francoist forces. Nowadays, anarchism has taken a more peaceful and evolutionary course, but its core ideals still remain the same. Libertarianism. Libertarianism upholds liberty as its core value. It seeks to maximize autonomy and political freedom, emphasizing equality before the law and civil rights to freedom of association, speech, thought, and choice. They are often skeptical against authority or state, but some libertarians diverge on the scope of their opposition to existing economic and political systems. Libertarianism was a very popular move in the US after World War II. Libertarians can be left-wing or right-wing, hence its inclusion here. And finally, radicalism. Radicalism denotes the intent to transform or replace the fundamental principles of a society or political system, often through social change, structural change, revolution, or radical reform. Most radical parties are often linked with extremism. A good example of that is Hamas. They are a radical Palestinian political party with its own extremist militant group. And that's a wrap for political ideologies. And it's also my last video of 2023. This has really been a roller coaster of a year, and I want to thank all of you who have supported me over the course of this year, and especially those 30 people or so that watch me nowadays. And here's to a better 2024. And for the last time, I have to do this. For the last time, this year. Thank you for watching, and see you in 2024. Bye guys.